who we got here? Hey, Frank, how you doing?
Not bad. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Great.
Good news today.
Yeah, good day. Good day. We're having a good time.
Yeah, it seems like lately over the last few weeks, every day's been a good day for Universal PropTech. Congratulations. You guys are doing really, really well. The stock is obviously getting way more traction, way more liquidity, way more eyeballs on the security. And there was some big news today. Do you want to touch base on the news, or do you have anything specific you want to talk about?
No, let's touch base. I mean, I'll just state the facts. So far in June, we've brought in now about $2 million worth of mechanical work, projects and services work. So it's not bad in less than a month to announce that for one division, the smaller division of our company. So that's pretty exciting.
So wait a second. So $2 million in 1 month?
Well, so far for new mechanical work that was just announced. So
wow.
Yeah, mechanical group.
Impressive.
You know, Jeff Morneau, who runs our mechanical group, has been doing a pretty amazing job to really drive growth in that area, and we're obviously seeing evidence of it. So we're pretty excited.
So this $750,000. Now, when I broke down the news, it's over a period of a few years, correct?
Some of that is services work. So the majority of our business is, you know, we get service contracts where an organization, a municipal housing authority, for example, would say for 2-3 years, you're looking after the mechanical equipment of all of these buildings. And so there's a certain services revenue for that. In addition to that, when you're on site and you're doing your maintenance and you're changing filters and doing other things as part of your services work, there's repairs work that are identified. And each one of those then become their own sort of separate proposals. It could be small figures to, you know, several thousands of dollars. And so those continue to add up. So the way that our business works is you get in the door with a services contract and you generally get a lot more repair revenue. That I can't give a rule of thumb, but it could be a multiple of that. And then in some cases, you then get significant project work that isn't urgent repair. It might be replacing rooftop units, boilers, bigger type projects. And so a number of that 750 is services work that will then come with additional repair work and other opportunities. And then some of that was actual project installation work occurring in this quarter.
So can you tell us a little bit about the 2,400 dealer network the company recently signed and how that works?
Yeah, I'd love to. So Chris Mitchell is the individual who runs Sustainable Tech. I've known him for years. In fact, this is how exciting this company is right now, our company. Chris used to be an employee of our company. He used to work for Clean Energy Developments when we owned it, and he ran our dealer network at the time. We now have pulled him back in to help us with Air Sniper. So effectively, his dealer network, he's a distributor who has at the moment about 2,400 dealers, mechanical, electrical, small contractors across the country who he then sells he has about 400 type products that he sells to them through them for their projects. So they would be anywhere from LED lights to heat pumps to cogen, trigeneration energy systems, and now Air Sniper products. So as we start ramping that up, what does that do? Well, we're in Eastern Canada from a day-to-day services operations perspective, and now with this relationship, it allows us to start selling and generating revenue across the country again, as we did before with Clean Energy Developments. So that's exciting for us to open up those markets. He's particularly strong in the West Coast, so we'll take advantage of those opportunities, and that could lead to other opportunities for the business as well.
This is great, showing the diversity of your company and showing that you guys are getting your hands involved in a lot of different baskets. Yep. And doing whatever it takes to grow your revenue. So congratulations on all of your success. And you weren't kidding when you came on and said that you guys are going to start getting really busy and you guys are going to start having a lot of news and there's going to be a lot of catalysts coming. You weren't kidding about that. And let's talk about the next question. So the company's 10 million in annual revenue has been in Eastern Canada, and now you're national. So what does that look like for the company? Does that mean we can expect some really aggressive additional revenue growth?
I mean, it's a great question, and I think it's a logical expectation. What we're doing, and I think everyone can appreciate You bring in a new product, you bring in a new partner, there's a bit of a lag effect. It's not instantaneous that we're able to say, look at all the revenue from, say, the West Coast. But now that's churning, the wheels are turning, and we're putting more proposals. We're getting ready to do a lot more work with his dealer network across the country. So the expectation is certainly, I don't think much could materialize from that, specifically saying Q4, just being obvious about that. But it sets a framework of, we're now able to start marketing our company, our platform, our opportunities across the country. Maybe it helps us identify additional acquisition targets, a whole bunch of things it does by being national and leveraging, the sustainable tech is a great small business. It does say about a few $1 million a year. How do we leverage that for additional products that we might have? So, I think there's more to come.
I have a few more questions for you before I go through some of the questions from the community. If you guys have a question for Frank, please put it in the chat. I'll go through all the questions with Frank, but I have a couple more myself first. Your mechanical business seems to be doing well, and sales backlog has increased significantly to over 5 million. What has changed, and how is the company achieving this?
There's a few ways to look at that. One is, so think of it as a business. Every time we close a sale, it goes into our backlog until it's executed. So a combination of that is at the end of our Q2, which are, we haven't revealed Q3 yet. At the end of our Q2, it was obvious that we had an increase in revenue from sales from, revenue from services and repair work compared to the previous year. But the project work, I think, had more to do with the pandemic, right? So being in lockdown, no building owner says, yeah, come in and do the work that's not urgent. So as we keep booking those items in the last 2 quarters, there's a bit of that starts a little bit increase in the backlog of, if we're light on some of the revenue and by the end of Q2, when do we get to execute some of that? So we convert that backlog into revenue. So we're not going to have a backlog that's going to sit there for a very long period of time, but it gives a good sense of, well, if you've got the backlog, it means at some point you have to chew through it and turn that into revenue, which is great for the business. What's happened, I think the easiest part is we've been generating that project work, generating those awards through the pandemic. And now it's just starting to see, as we're going to start turning that into more revenue. And really, we talked about it, the government's put out money for various upgrades and opportunities within air purification, indoor air quality. So you're starting to see some remnants of that. You're starting to see school boards and organizations and municipalities executing some of that, picking their partners and getting that work done. So the mechanical group, you got to be out there, you got to be aggressive, and our guys have done that. And we're now making sure that we can start chewing that through. We've been hiring more people, bringing some people back, hiring more mechanics in our trades in the business. And so now we'll start seeing that, and hopefully we can build off of that and generate new levels for the next year.
Are you seeing any changes in the business as COVID restrictions start to lift?
Yeah, I think there's probably 2 fundamental things. One, as I was just saying, the project work will now start, right? So when lockdown, you can't really do a lot of project work other than emergency repairs. So the project work is now allowing us to get more work in the door, more revenue actually executed. So that's what's fundamentally changed, I think, is as the money was funneling through school boards and governmental organizations, we're now starting to see remnants of, hey, actual work is being done and built. So there's that. And I think that's a great sign. We certainly see that. The second part is there's now increasingly, and we're going to see this shortly from other announcements, but we're seeing a lot more increase in indoor air quality. What's the solution? What should we be doing as a strategy going forward for our buildings to opening them? And I think even the commercial side, certainly from an Ontario marketplace where we've been locked down for a very long time, there's a big expectation come September, a lot of the commercial buildings start to bring people back and open up far greater than where they have been to date. So that's going to bring a lot of challenges. And what are they going to be driven by? Is it checking off a box to make sure we're not going to be sued? We've done the bare minimum to not be sued. What is that new level? And we'll be ready for all of that.
That's great. Are there any developments that investors could be expecting soon?
Great question. Of course. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of things we're working on. And I said this before, so I'm not saying anything new. We are absolutely working on a number of opportunities to fill in our indoor air quality, to fill out our our mechanical, our controls, our building performance, and really the one that I think will be a lot more fun in the coming weeks. That's really in my wheelhouse for my 20 years of experience, is a lot more on the energy resources side. So I really can't wait for a lot of that to come out. So we're, again, I said this before, we're gonna look like a very different company. We're really building out around the controls and the mechanical side of the business, and really filling out a lot of the offerings that make sure, right away, if we go to a prospect, we're a trusted advisor. We know a lot about different facets of their building, and we're there to add value to it.
Fantastic. So those are the questions that I had. I want to go through some of the questions from the community now.
Yep. This
is from Atifa. Hi, what is your sales forecast for 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, and are you open to a joint venture?
Definitely open to joint ventures. I mean, that's going to be, I think, a big way of how we take a lot of our new solutions to market. The forecast, so one, as a business, we've not yet ever forecasted our sales. And, small cap, I think that's something that will change as we go into the next year, and then the next fiscal year starts September. So we are looking at how we do that. But here's the fundamental challenge. We are going to be in, growth on steroids. It's going to be acquisitions, other new market opportunities, other markets, geographic markets. It becomes very difficult to sort of lay down a line and say, that's exactly what we're going to be. So I think we'll find somewhere in the medium of, this is where, we want to project we're going to be from a revenue perspective, but it's going to look so different than where we are today. We will be national, we will be across the US. This is something that, depending on what acquisitions and what investment opportunities we can fulfill in the next, months to several months, that can have a drastic impact on that outlook. But, certainly it's far greater than where we are today.
That's great. Definitely a growing story, guys. And we're really excited to be here to tell the story and to help create more exposure for Universal PropTech. And there's one of the questions that is going to be consistently asked, and you can see it here. Do you have an update on Spotlight 19 from Marco?
Hey, Marco, great question. Do I have an update? So we're really excited to get an update from them, from Iceberg shortly. And as we get that update, obviously everyone will hear it as quickly as we can get it out. But from a timing perspective, I think all I can really say is, look, at the end of the day, we've embarked on a pretty aggressive marketing program at the moment. We're in one. We're really making sure that the most people across North America, and as I've been looking at stats, a lot of people in Europe are paying attention to what we're up to right now. So we're really putting our best foot forward. We have a number of announcements and things planned within the time frame of really maximizing those eyeballs. And so I guess I would just say, well, we picked our timing of when we ran this campaign. So that's all I'll say on that.
I have a question from Sean. It's kind of along the same lines. I was curious if you could ask if there's a plan to use Spotlight 19 as an add-on to the parade of recent deals on the VCI arm.
Yeah, I think, I really can't get into what the game plan beyond the obvious, right? So once they do have approval, right? So there's a final approval of that product. Definitely our game plan is that we'll go gangbusters to license that, to sell that across the country. So we will go gangbusters to do that. And I think as a business, what I look for all the time is, you guys are investors. When you think about a customer perspective, a person who owns a building or manages a building, how do we differentiate ourselves to get in there compared to other HVAC companies, other energy management companies? How do we differentiate ourselves? And absolutely, a Spotlight 19 will allow us, when the time comes, to have those conversations, get in the door with that type of product, and then the pull through of our business and everything else we're doing is really going to be a really big piece of that. So we're trying to make sure all the different pieces, from other indoor air quality solutions, everything serves its purpose in the chess match of what gets us in the door, what allows us to then do greater pull through, and what brings us the greatest amount of revenue and profit possible. So it is a long chess match, and there's a lot of moving pieces, but you're only as good as your weakest link. So we need to make sure that all the pieces we're working on work well. The last thing we want to do is get in the door with a Spotlight 19 and then not actually have other solutions to follow up with. And we're making sure that's not the case. So we're ready for it.
Okay, we have a question from I Am Pip Girl Stock Talk. Hi, Frank. Wondering if you can comment on Iceberg's partnership in regards to Spotlight 19 Tech. I can't help but notice that NASA's call Chris Hadfield is on the Iceberg board of advisors. I guess he was CEO, Chris Hadfield.
Yeah, I think I'll say a few things. One, people who know of Commander Hadfield, they know he doesn't do anything lightly. So we were always excited that he's there, and so we look forward to additional announcements when the time comes. So I think from a technology perspective, we're just excited. We did the deal with them because we understood that many of the other technologies that they're going to be deploying or looking at to deploy on the back of this one. So from a technology perspective, I think this is where the market's going on many fronts, right? Using artificial intelligence. And that really is what drove us to it. Is we ourselves are embedding artificial intelligence in many of the solutions we're embarking on to optimize the value of a building, right? So whether it's generating new energy value from energy, or reducing the cost of energy by actually reducing the use of energy, there's a number of areas we're playing with, even improving indoor air quality, running systems when in indoor air quality or a quality index in a room isn't living up to what it should live up to, from a standard perspective. Additional equipment kicks on and make sure that we clean that room, and that becomes another level. So from a technology perspective, certainly they were an investment for us that made sense in the mix of artificial intelligence, the digitalization of society. So we're pretty excited about that. Their own technologies, we'll let them talk about what they're going to do next and how they're doing. But I really look forward to, and I know you will too, their next update.
Great. And this is from MJJ. Frank, do you have any parties waiting on the sidelines ready to buy Spotlight 19 after the completion of the clinical trial?
Great question. There are definitely conversations. We've always had conversations with organizations, and I think there would be a better point in time of when we could step that up and be able to maybe solidify additional, conditional agreements and things like that. But we have to wait for, obviously, we have to wait for them to announce additional details. And again, we're all waiting for that, and it will be exciting when it does happen, but we can't get too far ahead of ourselves. There are a number of things we're doing as a business, and when the time comes and it makes sense to go confirm those agreements with them, we will do that. And we've been gearing up with some of our advisors and some of the people behind the scenes to prepare for that.
One of the things I want to talk about is I believe that a company cannot just expect their stock to just do well. Some people are in the markets and they think, oh, we're public, we've got revenue, the stock will take care of itself. I don't agree with that at all, actually. I believe that a company actually has to focus on the stock, meaning they've got to do a lot of work to create exposure. You got to spend money on advertising. You got to market your product. We've seen TAT go and sponsor the Floyd Mayweather boxing match for the opportunity to maybe gain some exposure. Kind of a risk, but there's a risk reward with that. Now, what you guys have done recently, which I really liked, is you guys have recently just announced that you've got a IRPR firm that you're now working with to help you create some exposure. What's the idea there? What's the plan there? Can you kind of talk to the community about what your strategy is with that?
Yeah, I appreciate the intro on that one. So, we've hired a digital marketing firm, right? So it's not, it's digital marketing. As you pointed out earlier, just because you're publicly traded doesn't give you a license to print money. It's
yes.
It gives you the tools of you can now, or it gives you foundation of go build off of it. And, effectively Chris taking over this business less than a year ago, effectively, and taking it to the point where we are today. It's now about, we have some initial success. We're proving our bones. We're getting credibility for what we've said we were going to do and what we've done. And now it's about really, we got on the OTCQB, got on the Frankfurt. How do we make more people aware and get more eyeballs on it? At the end of the day, I'll take whatever ends up happening and what shareholders think of our stock. I'll take that. It's fine. It is what it is. But if we have the most people looking at it and hearing our story, understanding what it is that we're trying to do and what we are actually doing, that's all we can really ask. And we are doing everything possible for shareholders today to make sure that we're getting maximum attention, because we do have a lot of announcements. We do have a lot of momentum, and we need that to get out. We need people to understand that. that's all we can really ask for. And I think those are the tools. We're publicly traded, so the tools benefit. The tools are there to say, how do people in North Carolina and different states, in different provinces, in different countries hear about us? So that's what we're doing right now. And we are pretty excited about it. We get a lot of comments every day. We set up a different chat rooms for different shareholders, a Telegram one to make sure that people can follow us and ask questions. And I hope your listeners can appreciate, because a lot of them, or your watchers, are on this Telegram channel we have. I love answering questions, and people ask questions all the time. And I do the best I can to answer them. So we're an open book as much as we can be, and that's a two-way conversation you have to have with investors nowadays, and we hope they appreciate that.
I was going to ask you about that next. So the Telegram group. So I think this is brilliant. Frank and UPI opened up a Telegram chat. Anyone that's watching can join it. It's a free group that anybody can join. So just go to Telegram, guys, download it on your phones and search Universal PropTech and join the chat. And we've had a lot of our members from our own personal Telegram group join the chat, and it allows them to be in a little bit more contact with you and ask you questions. And I love the fact that you're very responsive pretty much to every single question. So anytime someone has a question, boom, you're there, you're answering the question. Our community is loving it because they're getting a chance to ask you questions and get answers in real time. It gives the investors the opportunity to feel comfortable about investing in a company when they can get an answer. Yep. Where typically you're not going to have that type of relationship with the company you're investing in. If someone wants to join the Telegram, is there a specific way they should join? Is there any other way for them to get in contact with you?
No, I know at the bottom of our media releases, we have the link. So that's easy for people to find it. But I think if you just log on to Telegram or open up an account, you'd be able to find our page, our channel. But, part of why that works and why I'm really excited that we did this is that it's not an easy story, right? It's not a traditional, it's just an HVAC company. And it's as simple as that. The things we're doing and the places we're going require some nuance to convey, I'm sure people understand the concept of a blue ocean. When you're doing something that's different and you don't have a lot of people in your space who are copying you, and we're not copying someone. If you don't have people who understand what it is we're trying to do, then it requires a little bit more communication with them to understand the story and the narrative. And I can say this bluntly, clearly the data shows that we are undervalued versus our peers.
Yes.
I can say that, and I can say that until we're not, but that is a fact. And part of what changes that, other than getting people to watch our stock and watch our business and see what we're announcing and what we're up to, that's obviously a clear way to do it. Another way is to really help educate and communicate with people to understand why we're different and how we're trying to take markets by storm a little differently than others. And so that takes a lot more effort, and it's fine, because it's not just with investors. There's a whole set of the trillions in real estate assets globally, they're going through changes. And so if the people who own those assets, if it was easy for them, this would be a no-brainer. So there's an effort to go through educating them on the changes of how they can operate a building, how they can design and build a new building. So there's a lot of transformation of an industry that's occurring here. And it's just not so simple to say, read a press release and we're done. There has to be a conversation and a dialogue. And that channel allows us to do it.
I've noticed this trend with companies that are successful, and I've seen it with TAT. They've got these groups all over Facebook. There's so many groups where people are talking about TAT. And obviously TAT's been a huge success. So they've created this excitement within their community, and you guys are following the exact same role model of, you've got a Facebook group, you've got a Telegram group, you're on Twitter, you're doing the YouTube videos. So you're getting exposure. And I believe that that's the difference between a company that is going to be a huge success and a company that nobody knows about. One of the things that I'm always trying to explain to people is there's 20,000 public companies. Why would someone want to invest in one out of 20,000? What makes you so special? Yeah. Now, one of the reasons why I think UPI, Universal PropTech, has an incredible future is that your market cap is literally a baby market cap. And one of the things that we've done probably better than anyone else in the world over the last year is identify early stage companies before they explode. 16 million market cap. Come on, guys. Like, when you guys are looking at a company that's undervalued, just look at the market cap, right? You see a 16 million market cap for a company that's going to be doing 16 million plus in revenue pretty soon. That's undervalued. When you see a sea of companies that are trading at 100 million market cap that have less than 10 million in revenue, this is what we typically see in the markets. We see companies at a billion market cap and they're not even close to a billion in sales. 100 million market cap, not even close to 100 million in sales. You're at a 16 million market cap. Yeah. That is a baby market cap. I see companies every day that we interview that are at 100 million market cap that have literally no sales, none. So when you're doing sales, you have no debt. And Frank, you have no debt, right?
That's right, no debt.
No debt, guys. Like, as an investor, that's like the holy grail, right? Like, debt is what holds all companies down, especially small caps. This is a company with no debt, growing revenue, and a really tight share structure, only 47 million shares, and a baby market cap of only 16 million. So one of the reasons why I said to our community when this first started that I believe that this is a 10-bagger is because of your market cap. Because I could see the market cap growing to 160 million. So that means even from today's levels, if you didn't dilute the stock and you grew the market cap from a 16 million market cap to 160 million market cap, that we could see a 10x in the stock, which would put you at around $3, $3.40 at today's levels. So that is huge for investors when you're thinking about, okay, is this stock undervalued? Is the stock overvalued? What's the future of the company? Always start with the balance sheet, debt to equity ratio, share structure, and is the company a growing company with growing revenue? And do they have a strong management team? And is that strong management team buying stock or are they selling stock? Well, Chris has been buying stock, right?
Yeah. Yep.
That's the CEO, guys.
CEO's Rich, I mean, you made a lot of great points. And I think the missing ingredient to a lot of that is, as you listed them off, is, well, if more investors understood this, if more investors were made aware of the company and what the potential is and how we're compared to our peers and other comparables out there, we let them come up with that conclusion and they can figure that one out. But there's a joke about, I wish I could win a lottery, you got to buy a ticket. And in this case, we can't have people appreciate the value of this business if they don't even know about it. And so we're spending our time not only pushing out the singles and doubles we do all day long in this business and really driving awareness of where we're going and more to come out shortly on things like that. But it's about getting more eyeballs on us and understanding us. And the more they understand us and the more people are watching us, we think that's obviously great ingredients for shareholders.
Well, I'm really impressed with what you guys are doing. I feel like you guys are checking all the boxes. You're doing all the right things.
Thanks,
I've seen this trend with other companies that have been very successful. I've mentioned TAT, who's very close to going to the NASDAQ. I've talked about Bus, Vicinity Motor Corp, who's very close to going to the NASDAQ. These are deals that we were the first to ever talk about that within a year are now literally going onto the NASDAQ. I would love it, Frank, if, in a year or less, you guys would be making the application to the NASDAQ. Is that something that you guys are thinking about? Or maybe
what? That's funny. I've certainly had more questions about that of late. And I appreciate that why there are questions of that. That hasn't been something, I think we're so focused on creating the success. We'll let that play out as it needs to play out. But, we're on the OTCQB now. And part of this is how do we leverage that? We need to get the eyeballs and the awareness in the US as that increases to maybe a level of awareness of our stock. Then we can obviously look at other things, but the things we're looking at would certainly make that possible. But I think unlike many other companies, and we can have this discussion, over many drinks, there's too many companies who I think approach the market. Do they really build a business as they're trying to take advantage of the fact that they're publicly traded? That is so critical to what we're doing. We're building a long-lasting, supportive business that isn't just going to go away. And I think when you build a business that way and you take that approach, you build things very differently. And so we'll get to those places in due time. And right now it's really about, making people aware of it, taking the market share where we can, growing in markets. More stuff will come out, and I think we'll better explain more of that, but we're really excited. And now I guess uplisting and those things are for future conversations, but we're really more focused on delivering real value for the shareholders we have today and the markets we have today.
Well, you're doing a fantastic job. Congratulations on all your success. All your hard work and effort is really paying off. I know our community really loves to talk about Universal PropTech, and they really enjoy being a part of your Telegram as well. So thank you for all of that and all your hard work and effort. And we'll continue to support Universal PropTech, tell the story, tell the news, and get as many investors all over the world learning about this early stage company, which in my opinion is extremely undervalued, underappreciated, and underexposed. And it seems as though every single press release proves that more and more, because you're growing your revenue and growing your revenue and growing your revenue. So continue to do all the hard work that you're doing, and I'm sure that the results will speak for themselves. This is the Chief Growth Officer, Frank Carnevale. You have anything else to say to the community before we say goodbye? Just
thank you very much, everyone. Any questions, send them to me. Go to our channel, and we'll go to the different channels. You can text me, email me, whatever you want to do, Telegram. But I would just say, Rich, I'm probably going to see you very soon, and let's continue to stay in contact. And we're going to have a very busy summer. So really look forward to talking to you shortly.
Are you coming to Vancouver? You just say you're going to see me soon.
Are we not going on? We're not staying online? Sure, I'll come down.
No. I mean, yeah, we could do this, but I thought maybe you could come visit me in Vancouver.
You know what? Maybe that's something before the end of the summer. Let's plan on that. Let's do that. That would be great.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. So yeah, maybe we could do that too. And thank you for all your hard work and your time today, Frank. Keep up the good work. This is Rich from Rich to Be Live with Frank Carnevale, the Chief Growth Officer of Universal PropTech, UPI Canada, UPIPF in America. If you're not winning, you're not watching. We bring in the winners. We brought you Universal PropTech first, and we bring them to you first. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day, everybody. This is Rich and Frank saying farewell.